All right, 7 o'clock hour is upon us.
Oh,
So I would call to order the November 21st, 2023 Batavia Park District Board of Commissioners regular board meeting at 7 o'clock. Please call the roll.
Larson.
Here.
Bell. Tillman.
here.
Gray.
Absent.
Callahan.
Here. We have a quorum to conduct business. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. Items to be added, removed, or changed on the agenda.
There are not.
So moving on to item number 5, I would entertain a motion to establish the consent agenda as follows. The approval of the minutes for the regular board meeting of October 17th, approval of the minutes for the special board meeting of November 1st, approval of the minutes of the special board meeting of November 14th, approval of paid expenditures, approval of expense, approval report, approval of the investment summary, approval of the income statement, and approval of purchases.
So moved.
Motion by Tillman.
Second.
Okay. Now we have a roll call.
Tillman.
Aye.
Larson.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. So 3, sorry, a little mixed up tonight with. Okay, so I would then approve, or have a motion to approve the consent agenda as established.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Larson. Voice vote only. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Guest matters from the public. Anybody wishing to address the board this evening? Very good. Matters from the commissioners. Anyone wanting to make any public comments tonight?
Nope.
Okay, moving right along. Next is presentations.
Yes, we have Owen Stahl is here from Troop 6 to present his Eagle Scout project of that he did butterfly houses at Hawks Bluff.
Welcome, Owen.
Hello. I actually have a book of pictures and stuff that I want to pass around
Oh,
from
excellent.
from the days. So if you all want to look at it, we can.
Awesome, thank you.
Alright, so basically what my project was, I built butterfly houses for the park districts, and I built them at my house and had help from my troop and my friends, and we installed them with my troop at Hawks Bluff Park, over there behind Randall in the Tanglewood neighborhood. Next slide. So I just want to go over the basis of how it helps the environment and what it does to butterflies over there in the park. So basically, the butterflies, it gives them an escape to bad weather and predators. So basically just shelter we provided for them, and that was pretty much the shelter. And then inside, we have rough walls that were unsanded and birch logs to give them a place to rest inside during the night and when they're trying to escape predators or the natural weather. It helps the butterflies and the flowers by placing them near flower meadows, such as the park district has a wide variety of meadows and flowers over there at Hawks Bluff and in the forest areas. Basically, butterflies are pollinators, and they spread pollen from all sorts of plants, and it gives the plants get their pollen mixed around, and the butterflies have easy access to food. They also attract more butterflies with the birch logs inside, and more butterflies means more spread of pollen, which is better for the environment. Next slide. The process of the project was longer than most US South projects, I would say, just because of how many construction days and preparation days there were. There was 3 total days. There was staining, construction of them, and then installation. So first we did some brainstorming. I had help from my scouts and my dad and a couple other leaders in the troop.
Looks like you had an army.
Right?
That's awesome.
Helping decide on what I wanted to do for my project, and then we eventually decided on making butterfly houses. Seemed as though it would be a good way to get my project done, and I dove into online and did some more research and figured out what I needed to do and find a plan to make them and stuff like that. Then I contacted the Park District. I contacted Mr. Macias and Mrs. Hanson, and I got into contact with them, and I met with them in person and presented them with my idea, and they thought it would work wonderfully over at Hawks Bluff Park. And then I found a simple building plan online,
That's awesome.
and I went and shopped for the supplies there at Menards and the local Menards and Home Depot. Then I started the 3-day plan to finish the project. First phase was cutting the wood and staining the wood. So me and my dad cut all the wood up into the proper lengths in my garage. And then I had a couple of my friends on the soccer team come over, and they helped stain the wood and put the finish on them. And then the second day was I brought all the finished stain boards to my next scout meeting, and I had a bunch of scouts put together, and I taught them how to put together houses without breaking them. But that's all right. And then third phase was having some of the older scouts that are available to just come help and put the houses together, and finishing the paperwork for the project, which was fun. If you want to click on the image, I think it actually brings you to the plan itself.
Oh, cool.
You might have to exit present it, I don't know.
One of the
Oh,
things you learn when you do
whoopsie, yeah.
presentations
Yep.
is when you embed something into a presentation, it's hard to get it to actually be clickable while it's in presentation mode. That's a trick. You learn through trial and error. Not until I was like 35.
Apparently, I still need to learn that.
Yeah.
All right, let's.
Okay.
Hover over it again.
You're on the,
There
there you go.
Hover and then go over the white
Control.
box that shows up. Go out of it, come back in it slowly, and the white box will show up, and
There.
click on that white box that just showed
Tell
up.
me if you see the white box and I do
Yeah,
it
Oh,
right.
yeah, it's on the bottom right-hand side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're going over.
You have to, if
Hit
you,
control, hit control.
Holding control.
yeah.
Right.
Or you can right-click.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you right-click it,
Oh,
it
but
should.
on this kind of mouse, it's not the actual mouse.
Oh.
Use
2 fingers.
2 fingers.
I
Two
think you can
fingers.
skip it. It's
There
not
you
a
go.
big deal.
No, this is
Oh, no,
important.
do it
This
now.
is good stuff.
We're committed. We're committed at this point.
Yeah, we're locked in now, man. We're not doing anything else other than getting this thing to come up.
From online sources.
Online sources?
Open link.
Yes.
Yeah, there.
There you go, open link.
Ah, sorry. Oh.
Well, now you're just gonna embed something else on it. There you go.
All right. There we go. I'm a butterfinger.
There
I
we go.
apologize.
There we go.
So
No pressure.
You can just kind of scroll through. That's the basic plan design we used. If you keep scrolling down, it should be showing the steps and stuff. There's all supplies and tools that the website's going to use. Then there's all that. So actually stop here. So the second step, you see the attached to the back. We actually extended it 6 more inches because I talked on my second meeting with Alex. I just talked with him, and we both decided that we came to consensus that it'd be better if we use steel fence posts instead of 4x4s, and to just give it a longer life, because he said 4x4s would rot easily, and we just decided So basically, we extended the back of the butterfly house 6 inches, and we attached a spot to put a U-bolt, and then I U-bolted the thing to the back of the steel post. So you can keep scrolling through the thing now.
Okay.
And there's like 8 steps to it.
Okay.
So the front, so that's the magnet catch, and the magnet catch is basically just like any normal cabinet door that you have in your kitchen, and the front actually opens up, and that's how you get the birch log inside, or any food or anything you want to put inside for the butterflies too. So that was how you clean and maintenance and stuff like that. So that's all the instructions. So go back to the slideshow now, please.
All for a cup of coffee, that's pretty good.
So I knew to do that.
Good job.
Alright. So these are just some pictures. That's me in my garage, and all the boards finished and cut up and stuff. Took quite some time. I might have been busy in the main room, and my dad was out there a couple times. Next slide.
So technical difficulties.
So that's me and all my group ball friends, skating, stuff. There, we ended up, we had to go buy some more stain, but it wasn't too bad. I got most of it all done that day, and then then the next day I came home from school and I finished a couple houses that needed to be stained. So it was pretty successful. That's the troop at the meeting, helping putting it all together. Just a couple of screwdrivers and normal Phillips head screws, and we were just going to have them use normal screwdrivers, but then my scoutmaster brought these little motorized screwdrivers that were allowed to use, that scouts were allowed to use. We can't use like normal power drills, anybody under the age of 18, unfortunately. And then next slide should be the installation day. So just installing at the Hawks Bluff Park with a bunch of the older scouts. And up there you can see inside there's the birch log. We got the birch logs from a dead tree at my dad's golf course where he works at. And he helped me cut down the branches with a special saw he had. Go to the next slide. And I'm sorry I have to do it again, but if you click on the map image.
That's what I learned from last time.
She's gonna get a companion badge
Yeah.
for technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
This is perfect, by the way, just this part right here.
Your
You gotta
slides
hit
are
escape.
perfect. I need help here.
Yeah.
You gotta hit escape.
There you go.
All right, there you
You're
go.
gonna hit the escape key.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
there you go.
So I should be bringing, that's the Google Earth link. So my dad helped me set up this link on Google Earth. If you just, there you go. Oh, I lied. What happened?
What did I do?
Nothing, you didn't do anything. I think Google Earth messed up. Well, basically.
You were so sweet. You were so sweet.
Mrs. Hanson and Mr. Macias saw it, but basically it was just a big Google Earth map that had a bunch of pinpoints, or like almost the exact place where the house was. So if you wanted to, you could use the Google Earth map to walk around and visit all of the butterfly houses. And
That's really cool.
they
Go back to the
basically just
slideshow.
a map of basically just a map of where
See
they
if
were,
you can
so
click
the
that
park
link
district
on the
could
map.
find the butterfly houses later if they need maintenance
Grab the
or
map
something like
again,
that.
do the same thing.
But
See if you can click that, yeah.
Ah, see?
There we go.
It says this project.
Right.
It does say to sign in. This project's not
Google
public,
Earth
so maybe
did.
it's a
Oh,
matter
it
of
might be a
signing
private
in.
link.
Right?
That's okay.
It's a cool idea, though.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
I love what you're thinking.
yeah, so that was what I had
That's
in
very
mind.
cool.
But I didn't know I had to make it public. Otherwise, I would have had a nice map for you. Oh, that's the end of my presentation. So, if you have any questions?
Julie? Yeah, I was going to say, how many did you end up at your book, which is beautifully put together?
It is.
That's all my mom.
Yeah, well, I was obvious. That was obvious. Did you end up putting up 12?
Yeah, I put up 12.
You have 12 put up? And how did you guys, I mean, it was awesome. They look awesome. Where did you work with the park district on where, or did you guys just like?
So originally, me and my dad went and walked the whole place, but we walked the homeowners association's part rather than
Yep.
So we had to re-walk the normal part. So we were like, well, shoot.
Yeah.
Off the wrong part, now we have to go back. So after some assistance from Mrs. Hanson and Mr. Macias on where to actually look, we found the right spots and we definitely had enough space because we thought we weren't going to have enough houses to cover the whole area of what the whole meadows were, but in fact we were just in the wrong area.
And when did they get put in?
Oh.
I remember we talked
Spring,
about it
right?
at a different
Spring.
meeting.
Yeah.
It was spring, right? Yeah.
No, it was summer.
Summer, I was gonna say, 'cause I remember
Late summer.
you brought it up at one of the other meetings. We thought that was really cool.
August, yeah,
I think exactly it was August 12th.
Yep.
Pretty sure.
that it was going on, yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
How much, and we could use this as a template for the new stuff that we're doing over by Clark's
Okay.
Island, right?
Yeah.
We're putting a butterfly
Yeah.
sanctuary down there. This is a perfect template for that. This is
Build one of these for my
outstanding.
backyard for my.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is great.
You're very talented.
Yeah.
Now one can go into business for himself, he can start selling.
Right, right.
That's right. There you
Put
go.
a patent on the bottom of that thing.
Before you
Dan
know
just
it,
rolled his eyes, though, I got a funny feeling.
before you know it,
No, I'm
Geneva
just
Park
kidding.
District and St. Charles Park District might be
There you
knocking
go.
on your door.
Well, there's always Eagle Scouts. They always need projects, right?
Yeah. I have a brother, he's in need of a project.
There you go.
So this plan is-
Oh, and this is fantastic, and I really appreciate the thoughtfulness on doing something that maybe wouldn't be considered an ordinary, Eagle Scout project. What was the one thing that surprised you most going through this exercise? Not the one thing, or a
Well,
thing.
there's probably a lot, but I probably had to say just, I don't know, like going through the whole process, knowing what I needed to know. So just
Mhm.
always checking back in with Mr. Macias and Ms. Hanson because as I told you, I didn't even look in the right place to know where to throw my houses. So
Mhm.
just making sure I was on top of like all my stuff and I knew what I was going to do and just this project really taught me like what it was like to manage like a big thing and how it was just solely me in charge.
And making sure you have good people around you.
Yeah.
Good lesson. Yeah, that's outstanding.
So, again, I think for you, this is an outstanding achievement to complete this project and move toward your Eagle Scout badge. But for us, it's a gift.
Yeah.
And for this community, it's a gift. So I want you to view it that way. I think it's important for you to recognize that, when you're off in college or you're graduating college, you can remember that, you gave the citizens of Batavia something quite special. So thank
Do we
you
have
for
a
that.
placard or something for it? Like, is there like a sign? We should think about something like that over there by it. I don't know.
Like an interpretive sign? It might not be a bad
Like
idea.
just
just-
saying it was
Yeah.
Troop
Yeah.
6, so, yeah, we've not done that with any of our.
I mean, even on the
Eagle Scout
house
projects.
bluff, or the bluff sign, put a
Yeah.
little something on it, just say, enjoy the butterfly houses
Yeah,
contributed by
maybe
all.
we
can develop
budgeted
something
for
like
interpretive
that.
signs for next year.
I think
I mean, it might be
Yeah,
something.
that'd be a great idea.
Because I think an average person would look at this and not realize that a vertical slit is perfect for a butterfly,
Right.
but may not understand that,
One of those,
right?
did you know?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Contributed by-
Yes.
yeah.
That's a great idea.
I gotcha, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that is.
Look at that, look what you started.
Yep.
More signs.
And you get your, now you want a park district sign for it.
Right,
That's awesome.
nice job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Macias and Ms. Hanson, for giving me the opportunity to work with your teams. And thank you guys for.
You're welcome. I think you should publicly, because this is on BATV, there's probably some people sitting next to you that you might want to thank publicly.
Oh, yes. Thanks, Mom. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Griffin, for being here. If you know other people here, Troop 6, thank you.
How about Dad?
I just did say that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Being in this hospital garage when I wasn't home.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you for sharing him with us, and thank you very much again for the gift you've
Yes,
given us.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
It's a gift we'll treasure for many years.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You do not need to feel compelled to stay for the meeting, and we will not be offended if you leave. Have a good evening. Thank you.
And Noel,
Thank
you
you.
present very well for such a young man. So
Yeah.
that's-
Well
That was
done.
I love that book. That's fantastic. Very well done.
It's not as easy as people think it is.
No,
No,
absolutely not.
just having
Takes
that
a lot of
conversation
courage.
in my office.
Yes, I've worked with plenty of grown-up adults. So.
People
Can't
would rather
present that
people would rather be in the box than live in the village. Let me put it that way. That's actually a survey that's done. That death versus
Oh,
public
yeah, public
speaking,
speaking.
they would rather, death is
Yeah,
better.
that's number one.
Yeah.
I just have to tell a story very quickly. I have a young lady that works for me, and she's not young anymore, but she was one of my students in college, so she's been with me for almost 29 years. And whenever we talk about presentations or going to interviews, she literally starts to shrink. She's phenomenal. She's
Yeah.
outstanding. She
Yeah.
doesn't realize how good she is, but she can't stand it.
Yeah. No,
It's all good, though. All right, so next item on the agenda is correspondence. We have a letter from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, from Illinois National Fitness Campaign Grant Committee, awarding the Park District a $50,000 grant for our outdoor fitness court. So congratulations, everybody.
That's awesome.
Great work.
Very cool.
Excellent. And of course, our favorite time of the evening, which is announcements.
Drum roll, please.
Okay. Stare at the camera. Good evening, Batavia. Bruce Bucks are back for a limited time. The popular Black Friday week gift card sale is going on now. There are 2 days left to purchase your gift cards, Wednesday, November 23rd and Monday, November 27th. Receive bonus bucks when you purchase gift cards at the Eastside Community Center and the Batavia Civic Center. Spend $100 and earn an extra free $25. Bruce Bucks are valid on all the great district programs.
It was an independent.
In observation of Thanksgiving, the Eastside Community Center and Batavia Civic Center are closed on Thursday, November 23rd and Friday, November 24th. This Sunday, be part of Batavia history during the Peace on Earth Bridge ceremonial ribbon cutting and dedication on November 26th at 3 o'clock p.m. This event takes place in the South Riverwalk Plaza. This event celebrates the installation of the permanent Peace on Earth letters. Listen and enjoy project visionaries and local elected officials tell the story of the Peace Bridge project. The bridge lighting will take place around 5:30 p.m. and again at 7 o'clock. Kick off the winter season during the Celebration of Lights and Christmas Tree Lane Festival also this Sunday on November 26th, beginning at 5 o'clock p.m. This free family event includes hay rides, holiday craft activities, a community sing-along, ceremonial tree lighting, a visit with Santa, story hour, live reindeer this year, and the ever-popular Christmas tree lane. It's time to vote if you haven't already. Voting closes this Saturday, November 25th, for the People's Choice Award for the Christmas Tree Lane decoration competition. The competition is delightful this year as all the groups have really gone out of their way. Vote for your favorite on the district's Facebook page. Every vote counts. Let's see. Batavia Park District resident registration begins on Monday, November 27th at 8:30 a.m. Batavia non-resident winter registration begins December 4th. The fun guides dropped in community mailboxes during the week of November 13th, so everyone should have one in their home. The winter guide highlights include ties and tiaras, egg events, indoor aquatics, adult fitness programs, STEAM and education programs, and senior activities. And everyone asked for it, preschool tumbling is back this winter, so sign up early. The new programs all begin in January. Do you love decorating for the holidays? Is your front yard the envy of your neighborhood due to your festive decor? Show off your holiday spirit and enter Batavia's Holiday House Decorating Contest. Photos must be submitted by 4 p.m. on Monday, December 11th. You can register for the program online at bataviaparks.org. Have a question, but hate to call. I just lost my thing.
Welcome to my world.
Dang it. Have a question but hate to call? You can now text the Batavia Park District and we'll answer you. Our text line is on our main line, which is 630-879-5235. Customer service staff will respond during business hours, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. But you can leave a message at any time and we'll get back to you during the business hours. So we're very excited about this new product. Are you feeling left out? Stay up to date on all the Park District news by following the district on social media and joining the district's mailing list. You can subscribe from the district's homepage. And as always, thank you for listening and remember to play your way, Batavia.
Thank you very much for that
Welcome.
enthusiastic announcement.
Always good.
That's awesome. Next item on the agenda is staff reports.
Yeah, it's
Allison?
always tough for Brent to follow Katie.
I know, right?
Always a tough act to follow.
You've got this, Brent.
Our annual rollover bond payment was made at the end of October. Just a reminder that we typically do that issuance in December, but for this upcoming issuance, we're going to delay that until February of next year. So that'll be presented at the February board meeting, where Spear Financial will be here at the meeting. The tax levy is presented for approval tonight. And just a quick summary, the state of Illinois property tax extension limitation law limits the tax levy increase to the change in CPI or 5%, whichever is less. So tonight is the presentation of the tax levy ordinance, which we are proposing a 5% increase over the previous year's tax levy extension. And then payroll system, we're up and running on the new payroll system. Things have been going relatively well, I think, overall. It's never easy changing a payroll system, but we've been able to minimize that any difficulties in that transition, and we're looking forward to rolling out some additional features in the system here over the next few months. And then lastly, at the October board meeting, the board approved a change in our credit card processor, so we're going to be switching over to that new processor in January of next year.
I do have one question, rather than asking it on the levy. So we're proposing 5%. What is the projected EAV growth in Kane County? The increment? Because, years ago, we used to exceed the 5% specifically, not to avoid a public hearing, but specifically because we wanted to make sure that we captured the new growth, because you get one chance to do that. And if you don't capture that new growth, it's gone forever.
Right.
So, and the new growth doesn't fall under PTEL. It's like an exception.
Correct.
So I just want to make sure that that was all considered for this.
Right, so we're only proposing the 5%, so you do not have to do a public hearing. So technically, this CPI, you can go over that for new construction or like a closure of a TIF district, which is what will happen next year. But under this proposal, it would just be capturing that CPI growth of 5%, because if we did exceed that, then we would be required to go through the public hearing process.
Yeah, I understand the public hearing process, but I guess where I'm going is, if the 5% doesn't capture the new growth, then we're losing opportunity in future years for tax
Correct.
income. So where is the new growth? Like, what is the projected new growth line item?
It would be an additional percentage. Usually, it's we add on top of the CPI, change in CPI, maybe 1% to 2% on top of that.
For the portion of, for that portion of new
New
growth?
construction, correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Great. And normally Brent doesn't keep his phone with him during board meetings, but since his wife has a bun in the oven,
He could
and
be.
Got like minutes, right?
Be out of here.
so I want to congratulate Brent on
Right.
future baby boy.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you.
All right, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. We We were able to test the lights for the Peace on Earth letters last night, actually. I know they're probably be in the presentation here later. They turned out amazing. A few little adjustments that we need to make, but overall it turned out well. So excited. We actually laid the asphalt yesterday at the shop, at the locker maintenance facility. So parking lot's in, was striped, looks great. So a few punch list items obviously we need to go through, but overall we beat the weather and it looks awesome. So 209 South River Street, that's demo. That lot is blanketed, seated, looking good. A few punch list items there, but we're looking good. And I'd like to say, piggyback on the Paycor, love the new app on the phone. I was able to do payroll in a tree stand in Minnesota, like 15 feet in the air in a tree. So like, oh, this is awesome. So yeah.
While you were doing that, like 3 deer walked
Yeah, exactly. so yeah, it was a big improvement. Yep.
How'd you know?
So,
Yeah, right?
Yep.
All right, Kim.
All right, I just wanted to let everybody know that the playground mulch has been installed and it's all completed. The process went smooth, so all of our playgrounds are up to standard as we do it every year with the safety service. So the surface is all safe. Then also with our fall burns, we were able to get our burns done on Friday. They were completed. Everything went really smooth with that, which is awesome. It was from Lewiston Ecological Services, so very happy working with them. They burned at Prairie and Latham, they burned at Prairie Path Park, they burned at Laurelwood, and they burned at Payne Woods. So happy to get those done. So that's all I have.
When I was soliciting signatures for the last election I had to have, one of the people that she signed it, but she says, before I sign it, I need you to answer a question. Where do all the animals go when they do the burn? And I go, I imagine they just run away and then come back. She was satisfied with that.
She's like, this is what I wanted to know.
She goes, good, I'm glad that we're not harming the animals. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure they just run away. So whenever I see those burns, I think of that woman and her question. So.
That's funny. That's awesome. Yeah.
In the land of Disney.
Right?
Yes.
All right, Brittany.
Awesome. Facility rentals have been very popular, so I'm excited that the rec team has secured a long-term rental at Shannon Hall twice a week. So we're really excited to bring that to Shannon Hall. And I just wanted to highlight on some new programs that we're going to be offering in our new brochure. We're going to be offering a storm science class. We're going to be offering one-day pickleball clinics this winter break. Toddler tumbling, which Katie brought up in her announcements. And we're having, pickleball has been super, super busy. We're adding another drop-in hour, and it's gonna be just for beginners. So we're excited to start that soon.
If any of our commissioners would like to join the Beginners League, unless you're experts and would like to join the other leagues.
Yeah.
I gotta do something like that. We on our vacation, we take during the summer to the Ozarks, there's pickleball courts, and I have embarrassed myself. Previously, I should probably take some classes.
We'd be happy to serve you.
Yeah.
You can serve us. Serving. Awesome. Thanks, Britt.
Yep.
And Katie.
Okay. The Winter Fun Guide dropped to the community earlier this week, which I mentioned in the announcements. Marketing efforts to support the winter programs are underway, so you should be seeing it through email communication, website updates, as well as social media content. We're very excited about the programs and what we're doing to support the rec team. Speaking of the program guide, it's hard to believe it. We sent the text proof off to the designer today for the spring guide. So that process has already started. And for those who are curious, camp will be in the spring guide. So we are very excited to include that. So that process is already started, and we are actually excited about the programs that the rec team came up with or produced. And then also a final announcement for the marketing department is that the district has hired Shumway Studio to produce a video for the Peace Bridge project. This is for the second phase of the Peace Bridge project. They have already shot footage for the fabrication and installation of the project, and they will be on site this Sunday during the ribbon cutting to film that portion of the story. So we're really excited to finish up that piece of Batavia history and get the video document out into the community. That's it.
Great, thank you. All right, that brings us to the Executive Director's Report.
Yes. So we could say the last month has been celebrations, awards, and dedications. Oh my. Celebrations, awards, and dedications. Oh my. It truly has, there's been a lot going on. You're going to see a lot of familiar faces from this room in these pictures because between the park board and staff, we've been doing a lot of community outreach, representing the park district in many different realms, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you if I can get this to work. All right. Starting off the month, we participated in the Best of the Best Gala with the Illinois Association of Park Districts. There we honored John Tillman for 15 years of volunteer service, and Pat Callahan, 25 years of service. It takes a special breed to be a volunteer, let alone a volunteer in public service, because public service, for those of you watching at home, especially to be a publicly elected official in this world of Parks and Recreation, there's a lot of training that goes into it between the Open Meetings Act, the Freedom of Information Act, learning a lot about what you can respond to on social media and what needs to just go to the wayside, and also when to take action, a lot of researching, a lot of digging into the board packets, and it's a lot of volunteer time outside of park board meetings too. So with all gratitude, I want to thank John and Pat for 25 and 15 years of service. From all of us at the Park District, we really appreciate it, and we want to just, from the bottom of our hearts, say thank you.
Pleasure's been all mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you might recognize two other faces right next to Katie and me. That is David and Heidi Files. They're the owners of Energy City Brewing, and we had nominated them for a partnership award, and they received it. So IAPD has a nomination process and a selection committee, and David and Heidi were recognized for donating so much of their product for Windmill City Fest. We could taste test, so the community could taste test craft beer at the festival. The Pints by the Pond, they were instrumental and a thought partner for Nathaniel and Brittany with our very first one last year. And they're just a great partner overall to have. So, and it actually was the very first brewery to ever become a partner for the Best of the Best. So a lot of things that we kicked off with that celebration. Cool. Shortly behind that celebration, I think this was the next week, the Batavia Park District was named a Chicago Tribune Top Workplace. The word was out on the streets, and thank you, Vice President Tillman, for representing again. And so we were pleased to announce that we were number 97 in the small business category amongst Fortune 500 companies. And fortunately for John, his day job, since he's a full-time commissioner, he works for Capital One, and Capital One also received accolades as a top workplace, so John got to celebrate twice in one night. Mm-hmm. But the Batavia Park District is extremely pleased to announce this because it will definitely help us in our recruitment efforts with hiring staff. We've told our seasonals, part-time and full-time, they can put this on their LinkedIn pages, on their resumes. This is certainly a feather in their cap because ultimately it's every single person that filled out the employee engagement survey, and it shows the morale is in a good place. Kudos to the park board because it truly does start at the top with the policies that you've passed that put staff in a good position to succeed. Certainly staff couldn't get here alone by ourselves without your support.
Like I was telling you that night, this is all leadership. This comes from the fostering of certain philosophies and values, and just the whole leadership crew that filters down into everybody else. That's where this comes from. It's just fantastic. I was really proud of the fact that we were on here, and just proud of the entire leadership group, because I know working at Capital One what it takes to get that. So that was a great moment.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it was the only park district, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I believe it was the highest government entity as well. So
Yeah, there were two other school districts and a library district, and we topped the local government. And this is what, coming off of the pandemic, since we received the award in 2016, 2017, and 2018, trifecta, and then when the pandemic hit, as you know, we had 5 retirees. We lost over 100 years of institutional knowledge when those people retired. So our leadership team, with the exception of Brittany, is in new positions. We had Josh and Kim were promoted from within, but new positions on the leadership team that captured the spot. So that says a lot about, like you said, a lot about the leadership here.
Absolutely.
Quick, yep.
Yep.
Super exciting, I have to say
Congrats,
exciting.
yeah.
You can't say exciting, it's okay. It is exciting.
That's right.
Pat, you missed the exciting joke from last meeting.
Oh.
Yeah.
And another reason to celebrate, the Batavia Park District was just announced this past week at a luncheon that we were officially announced an IAPD IPRA Distinguished Accredited Agency. This was a long process. The last time we did this was in 2014, and I had written an extension memo it's every 5 years you can apply. So in 2019, I asked the committee if we could extend it into 2020 because we were working on the referendum at that time, and that was just too taxing for staff. And so they extended it into 2020, and as you know, the world fell apart in 2020, and then the DA committee actually fell apart for a little bit and had to recalibrate, create a new standards. So this team, again, right here, that had never been through the DA process, had an opportunity to really shine. And so, again, the park board was instrumental with policies, best practices, making sure that we're on the up and up. But I just couldn't be more proud of the team, our part-time, full-time, seasonal. It takes a village, and the giants stand on tall shoulders.
Allison, that also speaks, volumes for you about rebuilding a new leadership team. That's not an easy task to do.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you. Oh. And then now we're on to, that was the celebrations, now we're on to the dedications. And here you see the King County Department of Transportation dedication with Bliss Road, Main Street, and Fabian Parkway, the whole realignment. Jim Eby can tell you that this actually started in the year 2000, so Pat was on the board during that time. So the year 2000, and then it was revisited again in 2010, where they gave us a courtesy heads up and said, you know what, by the way, we may be putting this in motion. And at that time, the Parks Foundation was talking about putting in the disc golf course. Mm-hmm. So, I had let the Parks Foundation at that time know that there might be another 10 years, and the foundation said, you know what, we're okay with that, we'll give it a go. And when this project came back to light about 4 years ago, we actually put it in our community needs assessment and asked the public, would you like us to reinstall the disc golf course? And the numbers were really low, because I think it attracted a lot of non-residents. It's not our residents that were using it. Right. So we had decided respectfully that, maybe at some point we can reinstall some elements within some of our parks, but at this point it wasn't going to be a priority because our residents told us not to focus on it. But thank you, President Callahan. We know you've got an extremely crazy busy schedule, and you took time out of your day to cut the ribbon with all the dignitaries and represent the BPD.
It was an interesting ribbon cutting. Yes.
The goal is to cut a ribbon.
Yeah, it's not every day you're cutting. It's not every day you're in the middle of a highway.
or people driving by when they're talking.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Just on the road.
The people that
Is this safe?
the people that were coming late, and the ceremony had already started, and the people that were coming late, it was like a parade, and they're waving.
Just watching the ceremony as they're driving, instead of driving. And, oh, what's happening over there?
Right. All right. Even more to celebrate this weekend, as Katie and Brittany both alluded to, the Peace on Earth ribbon cutting. And we actually, this was the test lighting from last night up at the top. It's a really warm, ambient color, beautiful reflection. It's not as bright as it actually looks there into the water. It does have a really cool sheen, and it's great for pictures. That's why I wanted to show you many of the committee members, Dennis Kintop, Britta McKenna, Josh Wyant, and Jim Redman. Pat Callahan's also on the committee with Craig Photos. But I wanted to make sure that they were represented here tonight for all of you to see.
It's exciting.
Looks
Forward to
fabulous.
Sunday.
Yeah, it turned out great.
And then Sunday at 3 p.m., and I remember the three of you did say you could be there, right?
Yeah, I'll
Yep,
be there.
and Pat will be speaking.
I am? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you are.
I want to hold the big
Just give me a
scissors.
microphone, I'm good.
Yeah.
The font, no one will ever know the difference,
No, I agree.
Yeah.
ever.
What are you talking about? I think it looks basically exactly the same, right?
So, yeah, I mean, the letters are thicker, wider. Well, actually,
The girth of the letters
the
are
girth of the
slightly
letter, yeah,
larger
thank you.
than.
Oh, yeah, but I think that
Yeah,
it's
but
gonna
the
You
be.
can't,
overall-
you can't tell.
But
overall-
this is a true type font versus
Right.
the other, which was.
100%.
Did, and Photos thumbs upped it?
Yep. The overall footprint is the same, right?
Right.
Like the letters grew within the letter. not-
Well, you gotta make it,
Yeah,
it's supposed to
so-
will last longer, right? That's the whole concept. And how many extension cords?
No.
Yes.
Zero.
Can you picture somebody
That was
just
my
on the
whole thing.
building?
I would bridge and I'd be like,
No.
I feel like I'm
Yeah.
backstage somewhere,
Still
right?
blank.
Yeah,
Yep,
tur-
zero, all
Turned out
hardware.
really, really nice.
Yep.
That looks great.
Fancy.
And yeah, it's going to be phenomenal. And we're coordinating it with the celebration of lights. So what perfect
Very
timing.
cool.
And
Yeah.
we used to always put it up around this time of the year anyway. And so when Santa does the ceremonial tree lighting, Santa also has the magic to do both lights at once. So the power of
Very
Santa.
magical.
Power
Wow.
of Santa.
Santa's got a lot of power.
Yeah, he does. So he's watching. So 5:30 p.m. And 7 o'clock p.m., we're going to do 2 lightings of the bridge. So that way, since we had published 7 o'clock a little while ago, and then 5:30 for those donors that want to get a chance to see it. So, yep, we're looking forward to it.
Exciting.
And Celebration of Lights, don't forget to come out. There's going to, for the littles, Santa will be there, free hay rides. If you have a donation to the food pantry, we always appreciate that as well. It's going to be a day and a night to remember.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Nope, don't do that to me. There we go. All right, and then I just wanted to let the public know that we will be beginning pre-construction on the Callahan Community Center starting in January. And we're looking forward to the actual construction starting in the spring around April. If I say April 1st, people are going to think it's April Fool's joke, so we'll just say April-ish. So stay tuned. We're looking forward to giving you more of a sneak peek and a highlight reel to come. There we go. Dun, dun, dun. Before.
I drove by the before.
Right.
Is this
Wow.
the parking lot demo?
Yep.
Yes,
Yes.
the demo, not the
Yep.
demonstration, but the demo.
And it was a ground beef. It was, yep. And here is the after.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, we have a parking lot.
Yeah.
Look at the cue cards.
Right.
Ooh.
That does look really cool.
Looks really good.
It's like a huge difference.
Right?
Oh,
My
yeah.
goodness.
They didn't even know it was a parking lot before.
Right.
It was rough in the back.
Yeah.
On the east side, it was really rough.
Just where people parked, not necessarily a parking
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
And so Kim and Josh are working on putting it into the restorative asphalt maintenance replacement,
Schedule?
not replacement list, but not replacement for a long time.
Maintenance schedule.
But yeah, the resurfacing schedule to make sure that we seal coat it, take good care of it, just like we did with the East Side Center. So we're going to be good stewards of this parking lot.
Absolutely.
So, and also on behalf of staff and me personally, I just want to thank the park board for your time, your thoughtfulness with the capital development program retreat, and then as well as the budget workshop. There were a lot of great questions asked at both, and really thought provocative. You know, we've been as a staff working on this for at least 6 months, and so to be able to bring it before you really meant a lot to us, and for you to embrace it and you know, always challenge us to be more innovative and stay on the cutting edge, and we love that. You know, I think staff, we flourish on that, and you know, we really hope that you're excited, just as excited as we are to move forward. That's a wrap.
Outstanding. Thank you. All right.
Only with
Just seeing what they're talking about.
Oh. So I would, next item on the agenda is 14A. ordinance for the tax levy, so I would entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 413, levying assessment and collection of taxes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Larson. I do have a question, and a follow-up to the one I asked you. So, since 2020, the growth in Kane County, and I realize that's not the growth here in our neck of the woods necessarily, but all the growth is $2 billion. So if we're not levying to capture the growth, knowing that there's a limitation, we are losing opportunity for this district in the future. It's great when things are good, but I've sat in this chair when things are bad. And when things are bad, that's what you live on, right? So I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing by doing this at 5%. Knowing that if that's the case, and if a portion of that is within our district, that $2 billion, for the past 3 years, we've done 5%, which means we've lost that growth. We've lost access to that growth. To me, it's not about a public hearing. We've had public hearings for 20 years here. So I just want to make sure we're making good financial decisions for the long view. The short view is always easy. It's the long view that's hard to see. And by doing what this board did when I started here, and that was to go after the growth when we were a growing district, and in the past, maybe not so much between 19 and 20, because I think the growth was very, very small, but the growth between 20 and 22 was big, and people were spending money, and so they're building homes or renovating homes or doing things like that, and building businesses and our tax base. So I'm just going to put it on the table for this conversation. I apologize that I didn't look at this sooner, but it struck me as I was driving home today. After I had kind of downloaded the packet, I started thinking about it. So my question is, how urgent is this, that this be done tonight?
Yeah, a couple things. It needs to be filed by the last Tuesday in November with the county. Also, it's been a very historic past couple of years with inflation. Last year's levy was the first year that we hit the 5% limit, and then this is the second year.
We're talking two different things, though. You're talking tax limit. I'm talking growth.
Right.
I'm talking EAV.
Right.
We're talking two different things.
Correct. So the levy, as it's presented, only includes up to the 5% change in CPI.
Correct.
So even though we're not capturing that new construction, there is a certificate included in this levy ordinance that would allow a future board to go back and capture that growth that we're foregoing for this year. So in a future levy year, we could, and this was a new legislation enacted by the state last year, where we could go back in a future levy year and recapture this growth in EAV that we're foregoing.
I heard you say that earlier, and so what you're saying is that with that certificate, we no longer lose any chance of getting that growth if we, quote unquote, didn't get it or missed it or whatever.
Correct.
This year, we can go back next year and
We can
get it.
retroactively go back.
Or, I mean, does it have to be this time of year next year, or could it be you run some numbers and so forth and you
What's the
can?
limitation on it?
Right.
It could be any future year.
No, I'm saying, does it have to be, do we have to do it this same time of year? Or if you run some numbers, can we do it in January? Can we do it in February, whatever? To say, okay, you know what? Here are some of the numbers to answer some of the questions that Pat was talking about. We made the deadline of the last Tuesday of November, but we crunched some numbers and we had some extra time and so forth. And it looks like in order to capture the growth, we have X. Can we do that in January, or do we have to wait till next November?
It would be part of the levy request, so it would
For
have to
next
be
year.
done.
So it would have to be in November.
As part of
Okay.
the, yeah,
Okay.
in November.
Okay.
So if that's the case, then it sounds like the possibility is for 2 years of potential growth. because the growth between 2020 and 21 was $1.3 billion, and the growth between 21 and 22 was $1.1 billion. And again, that's Kane County as a whole. I recognize it's not just our district, but from a financial responsibility standpoint, that's why this board sits in these chairs. This is the one thing that we have an obligation to do for future boards and future staff members and future employees. And I think it's really, really critical to not necessarily look at this from a administrative perspective, because having a public hearing is no big deal. Waiting until November to do this is a problem, right? Because now we have to do this tonight, right? I'm reassured that we have a certificate, but I just want to make sure that, and I don't know whether we get counsel from.
We do, Adam Simon from Ansel Link.
Right, so I just want to make sure, though, that we're looking at the long view, because, I mean, I can tell you, I sat in this chair for 10 years and had a very hard discussion amongst the board members as to why on earth would you ask for 6.7%, knowing that we had a cap and we couldn't achieve it. And every time we asked the question, it was, well, we have to capture the new growth or we'll lose it. Now, I realize that with the legislation change, it gives us some latitude, but it only gives us latitude for the past 2 years. So I just want to put this out there, and I think it's important, and that's it.
Would you like us to take that direction for next year then and keep that in mind?
Well, what
for
I'd
next
like
year?
to do is I'd like to know what that actual growth within our EAV of our, what did we leave on the table? I guess maybe that's the question. What did the
Or
park district?
potentially leaving on the table.
Potentially leave on
And
the
then what do we
table?
do in next November?
Right.
To make up for it? I kind of want to see that before November. That's why I was asking if we could do something in January or whatever. That if we crunch some numbers, here's what we'll recapture when we do this again in November, right? And just put that in the back of the closet and we pull it back out in November,
Right.
and it's all taken care of.
And I guess if possible, if the legislation changed last year and we have 2 years, we should look at it in a 2-year cycle. We should look at what the 2-year cycle will. And again, the potential, and again, I'm not saying the board would necessarily do it, and if it, if it's worth doing it, that we should. Because remember, while we do operate with user fees and taxes, we do operate programs and facilities that we essentially operate at a loss for this community. And so it's those kind of resources, and that doesn't get any cheaper, so that keeps going up and up and up in terms of expense, and I'm thinking the quarry in specific, right? The cost and expense of the quarry, and if we're not tracking with new growth, then we're losing opportunities for the community to render programs and facilities that we know have to be augmented with tax dollars.
So I'd recommend even next year, maybe during one of the board staff retreats that we continue this conversation so we can make sure that we line it up exactly the way the vision of the board has.
Yeah, and I think, again, I apologize, I wasn't at the budget retreat, but I mean, I think that would be a perfect time, as long as we have the right timeline to get the public hearing done, to say, okay, here's where we're at, this is what EAB is doing, here's the EAB projected, here's where we think we're going to be for the tax cap, P-TEL, and also the potential new growth. I just think it's a good financial and sound financial strategy for this district, because we're not, St. Charles and Geneva. We don't have the kind of, property values and tax base that they do. We have a mix of, a mix of residential value, a mix of commercial value, and
But to your point, there's a lot of new growth, and you said it down.
From
know.
Shelky's presentation at the Chamber of Commerce breakfast, that sounds like things are coming up at Batavia in the next couple of years too, so.
So thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Any other?
No, did we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Oh.
Any other
I didn't even
comments
realize that, that's
or
all.
questions?
Was there? Okay, good.
All right. Lindsay, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Larson. Callahan.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is 14B.
Yes.
Naming of Prairie Commons subdivision park site.
So, this has been welcoming this is one of the really neat things that the park board gets to do. You get to decide what you would like to name one of our newest parks. And Kim Hansen's been working really closely with staff, collaborating, and she's excited to present to you tonight her recommendations and rationale behind them.
Yeah, so being the first park naming in quite a while, this was a pretty cool experience, and went about it a couple different approaches, a couple different ways. Used the, so just so everybody knows, this is Prairie Commons out in the Prairie Commons subdivision by the Fermi, by the water tower out there.
Yeah.
And so I used Prairie Commons and a couple of the names and a spinoff. And then it's also really close and connected to Fiddler Park. So Fiddler Farm Park, so it is, after talking with staff, we came up with a couple ideas related to that. Then I also did work with Kate Garrett from the museum, director of the Depot Museum, and came up with the history of the park. And we came across an immigrant that came from Luxembourg in the 1860s, and his name is Peter Frieders.
It's a great name.
I know.
Isn't that fantastic? Don't you feel like a jingle should be named after Peter Frieder?
I love it.
Peter Frieders.
Yes, Peter Frieder.
Can't help it.
He, probably the most significant owner of the area and of land over there, assembled a bunch of spent timberland, bought a bunch of parcels, put it together, made one big farm, and it stayed. That big farm stayed. The boundaries of that farm stayed for about 100 years. So just pretty cool. It's the only history, really significant history we could find, so I wanted to add that in there as an option.
So what's your recommendation?
My recommendation would have to be Frieders Park.
Not Peter Frieder's park.
Well,
To us, it would be.
to us, it will always be Peter Frieder.
As soon as we found that out, it was just too catchy.
We've been saying Peter Frieder for a couple months now.
I just walk around the shop randomly saying it.
Peter Frieder.
I
It's
asked
hard to
Mark,
not say it once you hear it.
I asked marketing, I'm like, can you come up with a jingle for it?
I mean, it
Jump in a
writes
room.
itself. The jingle writes itself.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's a discussion, it's.
How do you spell Frieder? Is it any kind of crazy?
F-R-E-I-E.
F-R-I-E.
I-E-D-E-R-S, Frieders? All right, as long as it's not a...
So it's just, it would be a good conversation piece, and I was just looking, I would like to do something a little bit different from just a subdivision name or a street name.
What are you talking about? I live right by Prairie Latham Park.
Oh, right.
Where is that located?
I don't know.
Well said, Julie.
But it is out there, I do
So
know
it's
that.
really up to the board if you want to have a discussion and,
I mean, unless Larson Park is already taken, I'm good with Frieders Park. I'm good.
unless there's a spinoff of a name that,
Is this the kind of
Peter
thing we
Frieder?
need to decide tonight, or can we, because there's a couple people who aren't here that may want to have some input. Is this?
yeah, you can
is this
table it if you'd like
a doodle
to.
poll or whatever that, what do we need? I mean, I know that the policy says so that we have to do something, but
This can go under old business next month and hopefully we'll get,
What's your
I just wanted to
recommendation?
make-
Just because
I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that we had the voice of all five folks for this.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was maybe.
I would like to add Peter Frieder's park.
I would
Yeah,
love Peter.
I would like to see
You
the
just
whole.
made her say
I would like to see the whole name.
you
You
made
didn't
it,
think you would go for Peter
No.
Frieder.
Well, no,
So
I
you
love
said Frieders.
the whole,
Yeah.
the whole name, rather than just the last name. We could call it
I would
Frieders.
love
I don't
Peter.
even think we need Park on there, just Peter Frieder.
Peter Frieder. Peter Frieder.
That just made my night.
Somehow I see the two of you just popping each other's office and just going, Peter Frieder, and just walking out.
Window.
You know.
That's all we got to do
That's
is
complete,
Peter
that's
Frieder.
exactly what we do now.
Now we do it already.
But I would like to see what the others have to
It will
say.
always be Peter Frieder
Oh
for
my.
us.
That's
Is
awesome.
this- I mean, can we
No,
put a poll on this? Can we
Absolutely
just
fine,
table
table
this
it
to-
until next week, and I would like you to add
Peter.
a sixth.
Yeah. Peter Frieders. People can always call it Frieders Park.
Is it
Its
Frieder-
official name should be Peter Frieders Park.
Is it Frieder singular or Frieder plural?
It's S.
S.
Yeah.
Frieders, okay.
Yep, Frieders.
So you can say Frieders Park, and already.
Yeah, right.
Well, you just made Kim's night, I know.
All right, so we will table this to next month.
And can you send something out
Awesome.
to have us vote on that? Like on a come to a consensus, like doodle poll or whatever that you do?
Yeah, give
those
the
things?
background on it so then the other
At the park board meeting.
two commissioners have that in an email.
Whatever,
and then
I'm
we
just,
can-
I don't want, I'm just
Okay,
saying,
yeah,
I don't want it to come
I can
look
Yeah.
like on the Tuesday morning, somebody's reading that or whatever, and,
No,
but
but
Well, let's
give them a chance to think about it.
Maybe the thing to do is revise the memo to include Peter Frieders Park.
Yeah,
And then send the memo out to the board.
Yeah, that's what I'm
just
saying.
as a reminder that this will be
To pick
addressed
one.
at
Sure.
the meeting,
Yeah.
just to highlight it so that it doesn't just it isn't just one other item.
So kind of like how we do elections.
exactly,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm
Make sure,
saying.
because
Give
maybe the
folks-
park doesn't come up all that often, they would probably want to be at least
Yeah,
here for it.
Peter.
Right, I just
Crazy.
want to give a shout out to Kate Garrett because going through this whole research process was a lot for me to start. It was big. She was amazing, and
Oh, good.
she wrote a report and finalized. It was really interesting to
You
learn
might want
about
to
it.
put Peter Frieders as the first option, though.
Well, strategically, we didn't want to show the cards, so we kind
I
of
think
put it
we
right
should
in
show the
middle.
cards, no.
All right. Looks like we have a quorum.
That's awesome.
Well, we need to make
Yeah,
sure
good
everybody
job.
has a voice.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Wait until you tell Alex tomorrow, Kim.
What?
Wait until you tell Alex tomorrow.
Right? I know. Be excited. Jim will be excited.
All right, next item on the agenda is 14C. This is the acceptance of the funds for the National Fitness Campaign. So I would entertain a motion to approve resolution number 299 to adopt and allocate funds for an outdoor fitness court as part of the 2024 National Fitness Campaign.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Larson. Any further discussion? Lindsay, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye,
Larson.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries.
this is going to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Mhm.
Item number 14D, this is the quitclaim deed that we've been discussing regarding the city of Batavia property adjacent to the water treatment plant. So I entertain a motion to approve resolution number 300, authorizing the execution of a quitclaim deed to the city of Batavia.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by
Can't say it
Larson.
real fast, can you?
No,
Like, that's
you
a hard
can't.
one to say.
It is.
It's easier to say Peter Frieders.
Right.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Larson.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. And our favorite time of the year, particularly when people are missing.
I told staff, I said, just wait.
Exactly.
Sam doesn't know.
This is one of those times I won't say, send it out for everybody to get a voice.
So this is the annual conference statewide designee meeting, meaning that all of the members of the park district, or park districts in the Illinois Parks Association have a meeting on Saturday afternoon.
It's not this week, is it?
No.
It's in January.
It's this.
It's part of the.
Oh, it's that.
Yeah, no, you're good, you're good.
And we need to designate a delegate and an alternate to attend that meeting, which is Saturday, 27th of February, or 27th, Saturday, January 27th of 2024 at 3:30 PM. Do I have any nominations for a delegate and an alternate?
I think we got two right there.
May I ask a question now first?
You may.
To Executive Assistant Lindsay, she has everybody's registrations. Are either Commissioner Bell or Commissioner Gray going to be there on Saturday? Do you remember? I think Tara Gray was going to be there.
I believe Commissioner Bell will be.
Or Bell will be there too? Oh, okay, well. Okay, that was my only question. Oh, and President Callahan will be there.
Oh!
Just kidding.
Shot her.
See,
You and I
that's the key of turning
Just
it
kidding.
in on time, and you don't have to do it right when we're doing this vote.
Just kidding. No, I can't read very well. It's hard to see. I can
Any
That
glance.
guy was leaving Saturday, out of town.
Nomination for Bell and Gray. Bell is the designate, and Gray is the alternate.
I have no problem with that.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Do we need a voice vote for this? Do we need to take action? Call the roll just for fun.
Yeah, just for fun.
Tillman.
Aye.
Larson.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. Any other business to come before the board?
No,
Thank you all.
productive meeting.
Yes,
Yes, it was.
So we have no more business to come before the board, so by the time you see this, Thanksgiving will have passed, but we will be wishing you, in the rears, a happy Thanksgiving. So we'll see you next month. Thank you.